Now I thought today I'd make up a salmon bake. Now it's going to be with pasta and we've got a really nice white sauce and it all just comes together and it is fabulous. So give this one a go. So for making up this salmon bake, I'm just going to go through the ingredients I'm going to use. Now I've got my salmon there, got it from the fishmongers, and asked them to take the skin off and the bones out. So skinless and boneless. In terms of weight, mine's about 800 grams. Now what I'm going to do with the salmon is the slightly bigger pieces, I'll probably chop them in half so you've got nice chunky bits of salmon, and that's going to sit at the bottom of this salmon bake. Everything else is going to be poured over the top. Now we're going to have this white sauce. Now to make this white sauce up, we're going to use 1.5 tubs of cottage cheese, so it's about 450 grams, 1 tub of ricotta cheese, so that's 250 grams, 2 eggs, parmesan cheese, grated parmesan cheese, probably about 30 or 40 grams, parsley, fresh parsley. Now we want to chop that nice and fine, and that goes in the white sauce. And also I'm going to add a little bit of dill, because dill goes well with salmon as well. So finely chopped, add it in, there's your white sauce. Now to the white sauce, I'm also going to add 1 clove of garlic, which is going to be crushed. And I've also got capers, 5 teaspoons, that's a small spoon of capers. Get rid of the liquid, just use the capers. And also anchovy fillets, going to use about 8 of those. Now the capers and the anchovies are really going to lift the flavour in this dish. So if you're making it up, do try and use those. Now I've got some pasta, I'm going to use penne, about 500 grams of that. Now with the pasta, what I would say is don't boil it until it's, completely cooked. What I say is look at your packet and maybe boil for 1 or 2 minutes less than what it says, because we are going to be baking it in the oven anyway. Now I've got some broccoli here, I've chosen to use that. Going to cut it into florets, and I'll probably just add that in with the pasta once the pasta's nearly cooked, just for a couple of minutes or so, just to very slightly soften it down. Going to use some spinach, fresh spinach, good couple of handfuls of that. Little cherry tomatoes. Now with the tomatoes, make sure they're nice and ripe, little baby ones, got lots of flavour, because we're obviously trying to get some good flavours in this dish. Now the only other thing I've got is some cheese. Now this is some mature cheddar, probably got about 50 grams, and what I'm going to do is just, grate that over the top of this sort of salmon bake just before it goes in the oven. So apart from a little bit of salt and pepper seasoning, that's all the ingredients. Now what I'm going to do next of all is get myself a bowl, and we're going to start off by making this white sauce. So I've got myself a bowl and I'm going to mix up this white sauce. So just use the cottage cheese, 1, and I'll use another 1/2 tub. Then we've got the ricotta cheese, just pop that in. Pop the 2 eggs in. Now I'm going to give that a quick mix. I'm going to change to a fork, I think. That's it. And you just want to mix that around. And then we can add in the parsley, the parmesan cheese and the dill. All right. Now I've got the parsley there. Whoops. Good amount of parsley, all nice and fine. And we've got the dill. Put that parmesan cheese in, and again give it another mix. Look at that, nice and simple white sauce there. Now I'm going to season it. Just put a little bit of salt and pepper on there, so I'll put it in my hand so it's not too much. That's it, a bit of salt. Black pepper. Now really, that is the white sauce now. That's the basic white sauce. And obviously we're now going to add in some other ingredients into that. Now, I'm going to put those capers in there. Say leave the juice behind. And then we've got the anchovies. Now the fillets, instead of like that, probably just going to break those up in half. So just pop those all in. Now I'm going to put the garlic in there as well, and see I've crushed it down. It's all about getting some flavour in this sauce. Now again, just give that a gentle mix, and that is the white sauce all done, and we've got some good flavours in there. The only other things we've got to mix with this is going to be the pasta, the broccoli, we've got the spinach, the tomatoes. Now what I'm next going to do is to go over to the hob, and I'm going to start boiling the pasta. So I've come over to the hob, I've got a pan of boiling water. Now I'm going to be cooking the pasta, so start off with some salt in there. Now what we want to do is just put the pasta in there. And then once it comes up to a boil again, just give it a quick mix around and put your timer on. As I say, you probably want to cook 1 or 2 minutes less than what the packet recommends. Now with the pasta, just now and again give it a move around, make sure that pasta's not sticking to the bottom. Now cook time for my pasta, my packet says 11 to 13 minutes. So what I'm probably going to do is cook for a minute or two less. So I'm probably going to cook for about 9 or 10 minutes. So set your timer for that one. Now the other thing is we've got the broccoli to go in there. Now I'm just going to put the broccoli in 2 minutes or so before the pasta's cooked. So if you were cooking for 10 minutes, put your broccoli in at sort of about 8 minutes. So I've been cooking my pasta for 8 minutes, so there's another couple of minutes cooking to go. But I'm just going to put my broccoli in there now. See, I've cut them into like florets. So we're just going to pop those in. That's it. Got those all in there. Again, turn the heat up if it's just dropped down a little bit. Get it boiling again. And say you want to give the pasta probably another 2 minutes or so, and we can then drain it all off. Now the pasta's had a total of 10 minutes, the broccoli's had a couple of minutes, so I'm going to switch that off now. I'm going to take this over to the sink and I'm going to drain it in my sieve. So I've just come over to the table. Now we've got to mix up this white sauce, and to be honest with you, I don't think the bowl I've got is big enough, so I'm going to have to do it in here. So start off putting that in there. Now I'm going to also put in all that spinach. See, it's all filling up already. And I'm just going to give that a mix because, the heat will sort of just slightly wilt that spinach anyway. And then we can add the sauce. So just move that pasta around and give that a good mix. I'm going to get a big spoon. Now, next of all, I did pour in the white sauce. I just didn't have the camera switched on, but trust me, it's in there. Now, what we do next is just give that all a good mix. Try and get the pasta coated with that sauce and everything, but be gentle because obviously we've got the broccoli. We don't want to mush it up. I've just got those tomatoes as well, so pop those in. So really, that is the mixture now, and what we're going to do is to get ourselves a baking dish, and we're going to start off by putting the first layer being the salmon. So let's move this out the way. So I've got my oven-proof baking dish. Now, what I'm going to do is put the pieces of salmon. So I've chopped mine in half, the bigger bits. So just spread those out along the bottom. So I've got my salmon in there. Now, again, I am just going to just quickly season that. And again, get a little bit of salt on there. Just a light sprinkling. Now, again, with that pasta mixture, just try and make sure everything's coated, and then we can just pour that in. Now, it's quite heavy, so be careful. Let's just get it all in there. Now, again, I'm just going to move that so it's all covering the salmon. Even it out a little bit. Lovely. So I've just been patting that down just to get it all squashed in with that sauce. Lovely. So I've got my cheese all grated, and just try and evenly spread that all over. That's it. Last bit. And there you go. That is ready to go in the oven. So switch your oven on, get that preheated. Now I've had my oven on and it's preheated, so I'm going to place that in the oven. Now before I place it in the oven, what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of tin foil over, because I'm going to cook the first half of time, probably about 15 minutes, with the tin foil on, and then the last 10 or 15 minutes I'll just take the tin foil off. So just going to place that in the oven. Now my oven just come up to temperature, so it's preheated. So what I'm going to do is place the salmon bake in the oven. Now remember, I'll put this little bit of tin foil on it, and for the first 15 minutes I'm going to cook with the tin foil on, and then what I'm going to do is cook for about another 15 minutes after that without the tin foil. So total cook time is roughly about 30 minutes. Now I've got my oven set to a temperature of 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 degrees Fahrenheit, gas mark 4. So say half an hour cook time, take the tin foil off after the first 15 minutes. Now I've had the salmon bake cooking for about 15 minutes with the tin foil on. So what I'm going to do is just pull it out gently. See if I can remove that, like that. And then we're going to pop that back in. And really, you want to probably cook for about another 10 or 15 minutes until you're getting a nice colour on the top. So I'll just close that up. Now I'm going to leave that cooking probably for about another 15 minutes, no tin foil. And if you can, just want to try and get a little bit of colour on the top. Now I finished cooking the pasta. I had 15 minutes with the tin foil, 15 minutes without. So I am going to take this out. But have a look at that. Look at that. Just starting to get a nice colour on top of that. I'm going to put that on the table and we're going to try some. So I've just come over to the table and look at that. Looks scrummy with all that cheese on. Now I'm going to have a bit of this. I'm just going to, I think I'll go in this corner here. So if I go down with this, like that, and try and scoop up a bit of that salmon. Oh yeah, look, I've got some there. Lovely, lovely. Now let's move that aside and we can try some. Now at the bottom there we've got the salmon. If I show you, look at that, nicely cooked, lovely and flaky. Let me just try some of that. Nice and moist, that salmon, absolutely lovely. Nice flavours, really good. Let me just try a bit of this pasta and a bit of broccoli. Get a bit of a mix. Oh, that was lovely. That sauce. You can taste those capers and the anchovies. Oh, that is scrummy. And it's not dry. You know, it's nice and moist. Give it a move around there, look. Get a bit of salmon and spinach. And the broccoli, you know, that was nicely cooked. It's not all sort of falling apart, but it's not hard either. Let me just try the last bit. All those flavours work together really, really well. I mean, obviously you could adapt it with some of the sort of, you know, the vegetables you put in, but I find, you know, the bit of broccoli, the spinach is nice, and you've got those herbs and that cheesy, creamy sauce, ricotta, scrummy. Go and make this, and thanks for watching my videos as well. You know, all my subscribers, all the people that leave the comments and rate it, you know, the videos. I do appreciate it all, so keep that up. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one. The Original Naked Chef.